Oh, well, I suppose we better give that up as a bad job. So if you're watching this tube, you're watching it live on only on the website, because for some reason YouTube doesn't want to start to stream. But never mind, we'll do it straight out onto the website. So here we are, ready to go, and everything's working as it should do on my end. But what is it working? Of course, it had to be YouTube. So nice to see you all again. Hopefully it'll go up on YouTube anyway as a video, and when you can watch it again there if you missed it, and if you were trying to watch it on YouTube as a live program. Well, never mind, we're going out on the internet, on the old website, so that's good. That should be all working away now, I think. Yes, is it? Yes, should be there. Ah, there we go. I can see me on the website, so yes, it's working. So no panic, we'll just get on with it now. If you want to get in touch with me tonight, you know what to do. You can get in touch with me in the usual ways. And got a bit of fun tonight, apart from, as well as a serious kind of how can I say, a serious subject. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. A serious subject. Now, it's just really to go on from what I've said before, and hopefully we can shed some light on some things that we didn't know before. And one of those things are, why are the migrant boats still coming to the UK? So let's take a look at some of the things that I think are being kept quiet. And for instance, and I think they're being kept quiet because they don't want the boats to stop, really, because you've had endless political airheads say, oh, we must stop the people traffickers. What a stupid statement that is. An absolute stupid statement they make. And why is it you think it's stupid? Well, I'll tell you why. They can arrest one gang and there are 10 other gangs behind them. The trade is so lucrative, there are endless queues of criminals ready to take over. So the solution, as they keep saying, is stop the traffickers, stop the traffickers, stop the traffickers. You cannot stop the traffickers because there's so much money involved. People will pay so much money, they get paid in advance. If the boat sinks and they die, they've been paid. They're heartless people. And behind the gangs that are working now, if they get taken out, there's another gang to take its place. So when these political people come and stand on in front of the Houses of Parliament, say, well, we've got to stop the traffickers, we have to stop it. Well, I think this is a stupid statement anyway. Now, what I'd like to do now is, well, I'm going to show you why are the boats allowed to leave France? Because as far as I can see, there's many laws been broken before these boats even get anywhere near to the sea. I mean, why isn't France upholding maritime international law? Why do they let these people walk along the beach with these things on their back into the water and away they go? Now, it's against the law to carry paying passengers on a vessel that's not certified. Well, that's one law they broke. They've broken straight away. And, for example, a vessel carrying paying passengers has to have a qualified or licensed master, or captain, whichever you want to call it. Can you see the captain on that boat? Can you, has the boat been checked to be licensed? It's been allowed to leave the shore full of people putting their lives at risk, and nobody's checked it. And I know it's also illegal to knowingly overload a vessel with people without having the correct safety equipment communications. Just to overload is basically, it is an offence. And what I can say is, look, you've broken the law. There you go. I mean, I'm no lawyer. You know, I just know that these laws are there, and if I was to break them, I'd get arrested. Now, it's not all the French's fault, because why hasn't the US government challenged the French over the neglecting the law, or engaged even a French lawyer to prosecute the French police and customs and border control for dereliction of their duties? Because I'm sure, even in a French court, you would be able to get these people taken to task. And also, you know, the question should be asked of the UK. It should be asked of the UK government border force and police as to why the person driving the boat has not been arrested when the boat arrives and then detained and charged with carrying passengers on an unregistered boat, having no license to do so, knowingly overloaded the vessels, endangering life, and landing a vessel on UK soil without permission or reporting to customs. Strange, eh? He just walks away with the rest of the people, probably goes back to Calais or Dunkirk or wherever it is they go from, and steers another boat and gets paid for it. He's part of the gang, isn't he? These people have paid money. He's an employee of the company. He's knowingly overloaded the boat. He's knowingly broke the law. So why don't the police on arrival arrest the man who's driving the boat? It's okay to say, well, I just volunteered. No, you didn't. You know? Okay, you volunteered, so now you volunteered as a captain. Have you got your papers to volunteer? Are you legal to do this? No. Okay, you're arrested just the same, because he broke the law. And that's wrong. And I think these people are really, really bad. In fact, I spoke to somebody the other day who's actually involved in trying to stop the boats in a different way, and he's sort of a bit of an activist, I suppose. And he told me that when he saw this particular video that you see now, that chap there that's walking behind the boat, and he has it on authority that he's just served 5 years in a prison. 5 years in a French prison, and now he's on his way to the UK. How true it is, I don't know. I can't confirm or deny, but he seems to know who he was and said, wow, he's getting on a boat and coming to England. He's a criminal. And as I think, not most, I mean, there's genuine cases who should be able to get here. And but this is not the way, because you're mixing with terrible people who are criminals. And that's, I just don't understand how they get away with it. How is it that these people don't get arrested? Because, let's put it this way, the person that's driving the boat doesn't get arrested. And yet, in the day when they used to stow away in the back of lorries, they used to arrest the driver and prosecute the drivers of the trucks. And it wasn't their fault. So a lot of them didn't know that they were in the back of the truck, but they used to get fined and arrested for it. So what's the difference? This man's bringing people into the country illegal. He's driving the boat. He should be arrested. Now, if you agree with me, what you can do, you can go to the website. Actually, the easiest way is to go to the website, and hopefully the only way that you can see this tonight, you'll be able to see it later on YouTube when I put it up there, hopefully. But the only way that you can watch it live now and comment is go to the website and go to the messenger thing, and I can see your messages instantly if you want to send me a message. Also, you can send me an email at bestbeforetv@gmail.com, or Twitter, or as it's known now as X, at bestbeforet. So there we go. So this is my really paid. It's an update on something I did before on how to stop the migrants. And it's the same as they've done with this barge that they've put down in the coast on Portsmouth or wherever it is. Or that should have been moored next to an island that's uninhabited but is belonged to Britain, and they should never touch the ground here. Should we go there? The process centre should be set up there. Well, anyway, I digress. You've heard all this before. Now, how do they get their boats? This is another question. How do they get the boats? I mean, there's hundreds of boats that they get, and obviously they're used once, and then they're seized by the border force or whatsoever. So, how are the boats supplied to migrants? I mean, there's hundreds of them all over the place, and they store them down in Dover and other places, and apparently they're going to sell them off, the good ones, they'll sell them off to charity. Now, the UK Home Office has revealed that many of the boats being used by migrants to cross the English Channel are now being purchased in China. Now, there's a reason why they're actually buying the boats in China, and the reason is that they've tightened up the law about buying these kind of inflatables in Europe and have to show a good reason and all the rest of it. So now what they do, they're imported into Eastern Europe, and later they're used by smugglers in Calais and Dunkirk and wherever else they send them. Now, what amazes me is these things are big. And even if they're not inflated, they're still big. They still have to come on a lorry of some kind or a truck, and they still have to be inflated. And it's not a small thing to see, even if somebody's got a drone up in the air, you can see it. Or when they're arriving, or if they're brought on trailers, or if they're brought to the back of vans. I don't know how they're brought, but they're brought to a beach, and then they have to be inflated. Or they're already inflated, I don't know. So why is it that, again, the French police don't go and say, is this boat licensed to go on the water because it exceeds the size for being a pleasure boat or blah blah blah, whatever the law is they could use to stop the boat. Now, I think there's something very wrong. The boats are coming into Eastern Europe, they're travelling by road all the way to France, never get stopped, never get checked by customs, never get a pull. Why is that, I wonder? It's in the interests of the French to let these people leave France. But there's more to it than that, which I'll tell you about in a little while. Now, according to the UK Office, migrant boats are increasingly imported, as I said, from China. And because of the bans on the dinghies and inflatables to be sold in Europe or in France. Also, the supply of rigid inflatable boats and engines and marine equipment has become much more difficult for Northern Europe, as David Fairclough of the Home Office Criminal Financial Investigation Team said. And he says, we have evidence that they are bought in China, so they've already got the evidence, and the boats themselves are being smuggled in. So they're not only not bringing them through the borders legally, they're actually smuggling them through Europe as well. So the boats are being smuggled before the people get them, and they're smuggled. And another aspect in the cross-channel migrant journeys that appear to have changed is that the size of the boats used. While most vessels only have a capacity to carry about 10 passengers, some of the newer rubber boats now fit more than 20 migrants on board. Well, I'm afraid you're wrong with that bit of information, because there's more than 20 getting on these boats, up to 40, so I'm told. And Mr. Fairclough, he said, this rises to the size of the passengers being carried on the boat, corresponds to the human traffickers' desire to maximise their profit on each crossing. Well, of course they want to maximise it. And it's great for them because they get paid before they leave, and if it sinks, well, doesn't matter, does it? they've had their money. And they've even seen attempts to create larger vessels. Traffickers are combining two boats into one. This is a point that he highlighted. So again, more people, more money, it's big business. And the more attempts despite price hike, according to Fairclough, smugglers convince migrants to board the dangerous vessels and commit irregular crossings by convincing them that the crossing will become much more difficult after the impending asylum law, which is currently still being debated in Parliament, will be passed. So they sort of, you better do it now because you might not get in. And they do tell them, well, once you're in, you're never going to leave. They haven't deported anybody really. And this is how they do it. And the prices, well, they charge for this perilous journey across the channel. Migrants are now being charged up to 5,000 to 6,000 euros, marking doubling of the price tag in many instances. So what are the French doing? You might ask, I keep asking you this question, what are the French doing? Because to me, they're not doing anything, to be honest. They're not doing anything to stop these people leaving. They do a statutory amount because the government's paid them 50 million or whatever it is, and to make them look good. But apart from that, they are not doing a thing. And as you see, the police were on site when those boats were leaving, and he just smoked his cigarette, put it out, and walked away. Not even an attempt to puncture the boat. Not even an attempt to try and stop anybody doing anything. Because France don't want them. Now, before they come over, you know, we hear that migrants, when they arrive in the UK, they start complaining about everything. From the food to the hotel rooms, slow Wi-Fi, and even we don't get like the location where we want to live. When it's very sad because we've got people who were born and bred in the UK under so much pressure financially, can't get to doctor's appointments, schools are overrun, high taxation, and they need to try and live their life. This is not only affecting the people who were born and bred here in the UK, or in the UK, I don't live there anymore, thank goodness, but it's affected the people who came as legal migrants in the 50s and 60s, who came on a legal route, and they paid their taxes, got jobs, opened businesses, educated their children. Their children, I think, we're in the second or third generation now, and they've, on the most part, integrated into society, and they've contributed it. And even they, I spoke to a person, and like I said, I don't give names. This person is very angry because he's paid in. Since he came in 1960, he had £17 in his pocket, and he worked, he did horrible jobs, he's educated his kids, and now at his local doctors he can't get in. And it's not because of the migrants. I mean, we've got doctors on strike and all sorts of things going on, but it's all the infrastructure is being affected by this influx of people who will only take for the system. They're not putting anything into the system. So the system gets poorer, and so do you, because this money that they're paying out, 7 million a week or whatever it is, or 7 billion, I don't know what it is, it's a lot of money they pay out, is taxpayers' money. And when you consider that there's people, ex-military people, I don't want to bang on, but you've heard it all before. We've got ex-military people living on the streets, we've got people waiting for housing, we've got people living in poor housing, and now all the hotels are full of migrants. They're complaining it's not good enough, they won't go to the camps. Manson got shut down because it got 4,000 in. Well, I'm going to show you where they came from, and how dare they complain about what they get in the UK. They say it's overrun with scurvy and scabies. Well, we didn't have them illnesses. We didn't have any of that till they started. They bring it with them, and it spreads in the camps. Of course it does. Anyway, I go on too long. So, again, I just want to go. I don't want to go over that again because I think it really makes me feel angry. But let's. Where they before they arrived on UK soil, illegally on board their rubber boats after paying thousands of pounds, where did they come from? Well, let's have a look, shall we? Because this is how they lived in France. Nice, isn't it? Nice hotel room, shower en suite, everything you could ever wish for. Okay? It's there. UK refugees, it said on that sign there. And the camps are disgusting. Must say that there is they knocked down part of the jungle. I will be showing you some of that as well. And replaced it with something a little bit better. But again, whilst they're in these places, especially now, they get one meal a day. And that's it. And you can see how they are living. Not very nice, is it? In fact, it's awful to see young children, men and women, living in these camps. Now, I feel sorry for the fact that they are in these camps and the French are not doing anything about it. But there's another side to this, because a lot of these people have actually registered in France. They don't want to go to England. They just want to stay in France. They don't all want to come to England. And again, I've got it on authority that the French basically don't help them even with this, with their claims. In fact, later on in the video, you'll see a guy who's learning French. This is part of Jungle Life. This is the one the other one was in Dunkirk that you've just been watching. This one is the part of the jungle, which is the most famous one. And again, these people live a horrible life because the French don't help them. What makes me angry, the ones that come to the UK or get into the UK complain about everything when they've come from living in this to living in a hotel or in a nice refugee centre. Now, these guys say, oh, we're shocked. Why do you come? Why do you come? Why? One said that he didn't see his family for 3 years. And they complain about the conditions. Well, they've got every right to complain. I mean, you wouldn't keep dogs like this. You wouldn't keep your animals like this. And they put up with it. And still, some of them want to stay in France. They don't want to come to England. And I feel sorry for them. But I don't feel sorry for coming to England illegally. There is legal routes. You can apply. And you can go to the embassy, any embassy, and you can try. You can try. The aid agencies like to do. Oh, go get on a boat. Once you're there, once you're in, you're okay. They'll never deport you. Well, I think the time is coming. The time is coming when you will get deported, because it's very sad that people have to live this way. But I'm not sad for the people that come to the UK illegally. But again, I must say, the French, what are the French doing? Why aren't the French putting tents up for this? Well, they have actually done. When they ripped down part of the jungle, they did actually start to put something together for these people. But again, they still make only one meal a day for them, and they still live under canvas the most part. And when they get to England, they think they've come to heaven. They don't, though. They complain. about the Wi-Fi. It's lucky they get even a phone signal where they are now. So, people from all over Africa, all over the Far East and Middle East are there. And we keep on feeling sorry or arguing, oh, you can't do this with them, you can't put them in the ex-army barracks, you can't put them in the empty jails, you can't put them in makeshift camps, you can't put them under canvas. Even under canvas in the UK, it'd be luxury for these people. So think on. Why is it that the British government do not stop these boats? It's because there's a vested interest in getting cheap labour. And for the Labour Party, the more immigrants they bring in, the more likely is that when they vote for the left wing rather than the right. Of course they will. And that's what increases vote, and it gets them in power, not as they deserve to be anyway. So, let's just stop that now, because I think you've probably seen enough of it. And we'll go back to here, and I could give many solutions, but I'm sure you've heard them all before. I could mention many ways, but what's the point? Because the ways that are easy to do and the ways that these people could be stopped and the boats could be stopped, the English government have had every opportunity to do it. They come up with the Rwanda scheme. They don't need a Rwanda scheme. This big barge they just bought here could have gone out to an island that's, uninhabited or very little inhabited, moor it up. They shouldn't touch British mainland soil, and they stay on there. And if they brought no papers, they've come illegally anyway. If they don't give up who they are and where they're from, then obviously we try and send them off to a third country, because there's third countries that will take them, or back to the country where they came from. The guys say, they've been schooled in what to say. They say, well, I can't go back to my country because I'm gay, but he's got 3 kids back in Africa or wherever it is, or I can't go back there because I believe in this or believe in that. Again, it's all ridiculous things. If they're all young men, most of them that come over are young men of fighting age, and some of them have already been assessed and have carried arms and been in the military. I think there was about 5 Afghan guys who were formerly in the Taliban in somewhere in Northolt or someplace anyway. So the thing is, what are you going to do with the elections next year, because there's going to be one. Now, in my final thoughts on this, or if the lefties get in power, well, they'll solve the problem. Of course they will. They will give an open door policy, and the UK will never be the same again. There'll be an amnesty for all those who've already come, and those that want to come definitely could, especially if they do a partnership with the Liberal Democrats or wherever they are, because they want an open door policy anyway. So there you go, overrun you will be. And the Conservatives will be thwarted because they have no backbone. There isn't one politician, well there is, I forgot his name now, the one who said they can F off back to, if they don't like what they got. Well, yeah, that's how they should be spoken to. When they turn around and say, oh, well, we're not going there because the Wi-Fi is no good. But on the whole, most of the Tories have got no backbone, and I think they should leave the European law thing, whatever it is, leave it, ECHO, whatever it is, leave that, because we're sensible enough, and we're kind enough, and we have morals, and we'll make the laws fair, but we'll be able to at least make our own decisions. Even though you've left the European Parliament, they're still making your decisions for you. And I think that's rather bad. So for me, the only chance Britain has is to vote for, this is my opinion, I've been following this party for a while. I mean, I live in Spain, but I like to keep abreast of what's going on. And for me, if there was a miraculous shift and a vote enormously towards the Reform Party, that's Richard Tice and Ben Habib and David Bull and one or two more, they have the backbone to stop this all from happening. And that is which way you go. But I think it would be a miraculous thing if they could get voted in. And it would be great if they could be voted in. So, what could I say? I could say that I've had me rant about it, but I think, just in case you're wondering why I'm wearing a hat, is because the lighting's wrong and I'm bald and the lights shine off my head. So I put a hat on. If you can't fight, wear a big hat. That's what my dad said. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's go to this. Now, I don't know, that should be playing some music somewhere. Oh no, sorry. Hero to Zero. Now, I did this last week, but because it was a big mess up last week, I mean, this week isn't a mess up in the fact that we can broadcast, it's a mess up that YouTube wasn't connecting, and I don't know why, and I did try it before we came on air. But anyway, we're doing this because I want you to help me out here. Hero to Zero. And what that means is, I want to find the top 10 heroes and the top 10 zeros. Zero meaning waste of space. Now, I'm pretty presumptuous because I put the people on there that I think should be heroes and zeros. And if you want to change it, all you've got to do is send me, as it said there, best before T, if you want to send it on X, which is Twitter. Or you can go and find, I haven't been pushing the Facebook group on, there is a Facebook group that you can go on and discuss things as well on the website. I would like that to be utilised a bit more and get some more people on, because I haven't really pushed it. But there, Facebook group is if you go to groups and then search Best Before TV like that, it'll come up and you can join and get on it. And also you can send me an email at bestbeforetv@gmail.com. Now, what about that? You could do that. And what else can you do? Well, that's about it. There's other things you can do. I mean, we're on Instagram, I think, and something else. We tried that Threads, but we come off it. It's too complicated for me anyway. But Hero to Zero. So here we go. My hero. No, let's do the music. Let's do the music. Okay. My number one hero, and is still the same, the most sensible politician that I've heard for a long time, is of course the number one, Ben Habib. Now Ben Habib, for me, he's the man. He is the man, because what he says and how he believes and his rules and his regulations and the things that he believes in. I'll tell you what, although he stems from Pakistan, he's more English than me, and I've said this before. He loves English values. He hates the fact that English values are being lost. He's the most sensible politician. Used to be an MEP. He's good friends with Nigel Farage and Richard Tice and all the rest of them. And this is the guy that would solve our problems overnight. And I have a great faith in him. So he's my number one. He's my number one hero. My number two, Lord Bamford. Now, Lord Bamford, in case you didn't know, owns or is the CEO or the owner of JCB. Yes, JCB. It's one of the biggest in the world at making earth moving and machinery for construction and this kind of thing. And he is heavily investing in hydrogen power. And already the backhoes, I mean, the JCB backhoes, the things that dig up the ground, he's already got them running on hydrogen, and it's clean fuel. He's also developed a truck engine as well, which he's got. I think he's got some trucks running around with this truck engine, all running on hydrogen, which is a green, wonderful, abundant, never run out fuel. And your car won't catch fire like the EVs that you buy. So Lord Bamford, he'll always stay at number 2 for me. Number 3 for me, hero, is Mike Graham. Why Mike Graham? Mike Graham works on a TV or radio station called Talk TV. He's on in the morning. What I like about him is he says it the way it is. He talks as if he's talking to somebody in the pub. He probably does talk to a lot of people up. I hear he likes to drink as well. But he says what I want to hear, and he touches the subjects that other people don't want to touch, and he does touch that subject. So that's why I think he's good. He's also got a sidekick that jumps on there in the morning with him as well, a guy called what's his name? Kevin O'Sullivan. Another one. Gets very angry, man. He's a very, very angry man. And he also, how they stay on the air sometimes, I don't know. But that's my number 3. And number 4, Richard Tice. I've told you about him. He's the leader of the Reform Party. And the reason he's at number 4 is because I think, although he's the leader, I think Ben Habib would be a better leader. Although Richard Tice, give him all his due, he seems to have the know of it all, and he says the right things, and he would stop the boats, and he would do a lot more than these, the two-party system that we have now, because that's what it is. So those are my heroes. Moving on to my zeros. Okay, who are my zeros? Well, this I gotta tell you. My zeros are, just moving something around on the computer. See, I have to do everything myself here. No engineers, just me. And that's why sometimes there's a few cock-ups. Anyway, number 1, Keir Starmer. Why is he at number 1? I'll tell you why he's at number 1. Because the man changed his mind to suit the place he's taught. If one day, for example, he would not say what a woman was, and then he flip-flopped on that, and then he did. And I believe that he's gone back on that now, so I don't know. He, at first, this thing about transgender women, or people saying they're transgender men going to women's prisons. I think at first he was in support, and then he didn't support. So, but I like to see that Mike Graham. Funnily enough, I was just going back on this. Mike Graham this morning had a transgender guy on who's a mistress, or I don't know how you approach. And he's exactly the type of person from my age group, same as a lot of my gay friends. I have a lot of gay friends and gay couples who marry. They don't want all this rubbish. It's a few heterosexuals really who are just trying to get in on the act and make these stupid rules. But anyway, the guy who was on this morning, who was transgender, was very, very angry with Keir Starmer and other things. So anyway, I got off the point. But Keir Starmer, flip-flop. The man that tells lies, because he only makes a speech, and he makes a speech to suit the place where he is, and I don't like him. Angela Rayner. Again, I just don't like it. I don't want to rubbish her too much because I didn't think I should. But I could say a lot about Angela Rayner, especially about her past. And but it's not for me to say. But let's put it this way: she is, for me, totally the wrong person to be in politics. Even, I mean, her partner is a trade union leader, so you can imagine the conversations they have in the night. But Angela Rayner, and I don't want to make rubbish of anybody, so I'll keep my mouth shut in regards to her, but she makes number 2 on my list. Mick Lynch, well, if you're not English you wouldn't know who Mick Lynch was, but Mick Lynch to me is just a rebel rouser. He just likes to have people out on strike, and he's using the railway men who've got good jobs and good pay anyway, I think, in comparison to others in other sectors. I think he's using them for political reasons, and the public are suffering for it. And Gary Lineker, who is a football pundit and should stay out of politics completely, because he just doesn't. Well, I won't say anything more except that Gary Lineker for me is should put his money where his mouth is, and that's it. So that's my hero to zero people, and you can vote, and if you vote you can vote them off and put somebody on the list that you think should be a hero, or somebody who should be a zero. Yes, what about that? So epic music, we play it again. That's enough of that. Let's go. Now, what I'm going to do now, I mean, we can't have serious topics all the time. And you know that the station is a retro station. Best Before TV is a retro station. And we show lots of old films and such like, yeah? And I thought, well, today, let's get away from this. I thought today, let's go back to the 50s, shall we? Now, I was born in the 50s, and in 3 days, is it the 17th, 1894? In 3 days, I'll be 70 years old, so there you go. Now, so let's go into the 50s and set the scene. And again, I'd like feedback from people to tell me what their fondest memories are of them years. Okay, so let's first of all look at what, in 1950, what films were the top five films. Now, I put that one on there because at number 1, it was Cinderella. And that was a Walt Disney musical. That was number 1 in January 1950. Oh no, February 1950, sorry. And King Solomon's Mines was at number 2, and that was in 1950. That's an adventure film. And I put Father of the Bride because I've shown that film. It's number 3. And All About Eve, that's number 4. And Annie Get You Gone, Annie Oakley at MGM made that one, and that was also done in May 1950. Now, the Spencer Tracy and Elizabeth Taylor, I'm saying this because I thought this was a good film. It was Father of Bride, yes. It was an American comedy film about a man trying to cope with the preparations for his daughter's wedding, starring Spencer Tracy, Joan Bennett, and Joan Bennett got a listing above Elizabeth Taylor, and it was directed by Vincent Minnelli. And it was adapted from Francis Goodrich's and Albert Hackett's from 1949 novel by Edward Streeters. The Father of Bride was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor in the leading role, which of course was Spencer Tracy, yeah? And for the Best Picture and Best Writing Screenplay. Okay. But we're focusing in 1950, and what else was going on in 1950? How are we doing for time? Oh, we better rush through this because we're running out of time. Let's first go to... we'll let this play a bit. What was the number one record in January 1950? Well, the number one record was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now, I'm not going to play that. But the number two was this one.
Dream on, dream on. I can see no matter how near you be, you never belong to me. But I can dream, can I? Can I pretend that I'm locked in the bed of your embrace? For dreams are just like wine, and I am drunk with mine. I'm aware my heart is a sad affair. There's much disillusion there, but I can dream, can I? Can I adore you? Oh, we are oceans apart. I can't make you open your heart, but I can dream, can't I? I'm aware my...
Oh, isn't that that was the Andrews sisters there, and that was actually the number two sound. The number two sound. I sound like a DJ. Number two sound in January 1950. I didn't want to put Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on, so I thought I'd put this one on. So that's good. Anyway, what else is going on? Let's have a look. What else was going on in the 50s? Well, what was it like? I found a nice little video that shows it's been altered by artificial intelligence, and it's been colorized, and it's a drive-through. So let's set the scene and see what memories this brings back to you. Well, there you go. That's it. Now, 1950s, look how people were dressed. They were all smart on the street. You know, I mean, this is colorized by artificial intelligence, but it's really good. I think it's good what they've done. And look at the bus. The buses, those are the ones that you hop on and hop off. Even a post box there. I wonder how many of them are left in the UK. And there's no container lorries there, and people could park. Look, they could actually park on the road. I can't see any yellow lines. There are yellow lines there. You know, zebra crossing. And people walking down the street there, and you know, there was a few traffic jams, look, still. But it wasn't like it is today, is it? And look at the model cars or the old taxis. Oh, a moggy van there. Does anybody remember what a moggy van was? Answers on postcards, please. And so this is what it was like to go through the streets. And wasn't it good? Now, I'm going to cut this short because I'm running out of time, and there's something else I want to show you. And because it runs for a bit. But what was it like? What was teenage life like? Well, let's have a look at this, shall we? Teenage life.
The last of our teenagers is Diane, and I first met her, as I did Pat and Mike, at a debate at the Warwick Institute in Pimlico, conducted by the principal, Mr. Jordan.
Now, do you think that money is essential to happiness? Let's see what you think about this.
I think that when you get married, you make an agreement to have a good time first and save up at the same time. And then the time comes to have children. And then when you have the children, you know that you should stay in and look after them yourself. I don't think that I'd like my children to be brought up by anybody else.
The point is, money's not everything. The things you really want in life is a good home with a good wife. You don't really need money all the time. If you've got love, and say you've got no money, well, you've always got that love to look by.
Yeah, well, you're getting married the first few weeks for love, but you keep talking about it from the point of love, but love only lasts a few months. I know you say, oh, if you find the right bloke, it lasts forever, but it just don't last forever. And you've got to have enough money to go around.
You can't say that, you've not had the experience.
Well, nor have you.
You don't know everybody in this world, lots of people stay in love for ages. You can't talk like that.
Diane, 15 and a half, a schoolgirl. She lives in West Norwood. Morning.
That's Dirk Bogarde. He's my favourite film star. Well, some people think it's silly keeping photographs like that. But myself, I don't think it's silly at all.
Diane, breakfast.
Downstairs, her father is already at the table.
We moved into this house 3 months ago from central London to try and find a new environment for our daughter, to make new friends and acquaintances. Mind you, she's not very happy with the situation at the moment, but we're hoping it'll improve. She thinks that the people in this district are either too old or too young, but mind you, I don't think she's given them a chance. I've found some very nice young people around here, and I hope she'll find them too. I think she's quite an average teenage girl at school, quite successful in most of her lessons and has a good report every year.
All the same, Diane doesn't enjoy school much.
Well, I mean, school, it gets boring. It's okay if you've got friends, but most of mine have left now. Well, the teachers there, they just treat you like young children. And you have to wear out-of-shape uniforms, ordinary hairstyles, and no makeup. And if you meet anybody on the way home, you just get laughed at, and you never lived it down.
School over, the first thing Diane does is to change out of school uniform and put on a frock and a bit of makeup. And now the rest of the day is hers. Or perhaps a cycle round the neighbourhood.
Oh, it's nice, but I've got no friends. I mean, it's very deserted around here for younger people. And they're either very young or very old.
Diane likes the outfit.
Well, I'd like to show you a lot more of that, but it seems that we are running out of time. I do apologise it didn't go up live, but you will see it on YouTube, hopefully, if it doesn't muck up again. But we've done everything right tonight. I'm happy, and hopefully you're all happy. And I'll do the same again next week. I'll do another hour. It doesn't seem long enough, but you have to do what you have to do. And take care of yourselves, and I will be back next week with another hour of reminiscing and a bit of a rant about what's getting me down. And don't forget, hero to zero. Who's your hero and who's your zero? I can only say it's been a pleasure, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Okay? It looks like, what's the next thing? Oh, well, we've got some adverts to come. It's funny that girl like Dirk Bogarde, the last film, Tale of Two Cities, which was on before me, starred Dirk Bogarde. Yeah. Spooky, eh? Never mind. Lots of things to come tonight. You've got highway patrol and all the rest of the stuff that I have to do. And hopefully you enjoy the station. Any suggestions, what you'd like to see in the future, get in touch. You've got all the ways you can contact me. Do it. Do it as soon as you can. I am gone. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you.